Alright, now let's discuss the properties of an automation framework. So we'll go through these one by one. Good design is the first one. Compatible, it should be reusable, scalable, workable, and it should generate a report for us. Good design. A good design makes you happy. A good design is beautiful, neat, reflective, and functional. Now you must be thinking that, Akanksha, why are you using these kind of words? I mean, we're working in an IT industry, and beautiful, neat, reflective, and functional, it looks like we're working on something creative. Yes, we are indeed working on something very creative. Frameworks is all about creativity. Okay, yes, you've got brains, you've got mind, you're working in an IT industry, that's fine. But still, a good framework is all about a good design, and a good design makes you happy. So when you are working with a framework or you're creating a framework, you have to keep these words in mind, so that down the line when somebody uses your framework, he exactly feels what these words are trying to explain. Oh wow, this framework is so easy, it's neat, it's reflective, I can understand each and every class. Okay, this class is all about handling the data. Alright, this class is all about taking care of the keywords. So that's how your framework should be. It should be a good design. It should be designed nicely. Okay? Compatible. A framework should be configurable at runtime according to the test execution environment. So what this point means is that when you will be using the framework, alright, and according to the test execution environment, your framework should be configurable. That means you should be able to configure your framework or provide certain settings at runtime during the execution of that testing framework. Okay, that's what compatibility means. Reusable. Test automation framework should be reusable. That means you can use it again and again and again and again. There shouldn't be any duplication of code, as I just mentioned in the last recording. There shouldn't be any duplicity of code or test cases. Build libraries of utilities, business logic, and generic functions. So when we work with frameworks and when we try to make it reusable, how do we make it reusable? Obviously, we will keep things in a certain way, so that if I want to use a certain function again and again for all the different test cases, I should be able to do that. There shouldn't be any duplicity of that function, alright? But it should be mentioned somewhere as a utility or as a generic function within the test classes. The business logic will remain separate, so we will try and keep all the utility classes, business logic, and the generic functions separate in different classes. Okay? Scalable. Frameworks should be capable of being used in small to bigger projects. That's what I was talking about. When you start working with the framework, always and always keep in mind that it should be scalable. So right now you want to have just 50 test cases in your test suite, for example, but down the line you might increase the test case number to, let's say, 150, 200, and your framework should be capable of handling all the test cases. Alright, your framework should be expandable, scalable. Workable. Everybody should be able to handle the framework code on their level. That's what I was talking about when I talked about good design. Everybody, that means even the person who doesn't know anything about the coding part, what's written in the testing classes or test scripts, should be capable of handling your test suite. That means if he wants to run the test suite with some knowledge transfer, small knowledge transfer, I'm not talking about giving him the details, but some knowledge transfer, he should be capable of understanding what kind of a framework it is, what kind of application you are testing, and what's the purpose of these test cases, how to run this regression test suite, or let's say not regression, but how to run this automation test suite. Okay? Test engineer with less knowledge of the code should be able to understand the framework classes and methods. So if you provide certain knowledge transfer and just take them through the classes, just explain them. Obviously, not everybody would be a coding expert, okay, but still, if you just take them through the classes, through the code, they should be able to grasp what's actually the content. Okay, I'm not saying that he should be able to understand each and every line of code, but what is the class all about? Okay, alright, let's go to the next slide. Traceable, very important. When you work with automation, this is the most important, one of the most important rather, part of the automation test suite. The purpose of having automation in place is to save some time, alright? And when we execute the test suite, when we run the test cases, we obviously create the reports also. And it takes a lot of effort. So we want this effort also to get automated. So with automation test suite, you would also like to automate the process of report generation. A good test automation framework should be traceable so that the testers can easily find the data and results, which can be easily monitored or act upon to respond to a particular requirement. So what this point is saying, is trying to explain, is that when you will create the report, obviously you will fill in some data in a sheet. It could be any sheet, let's say an Excel sheet. So when you will fill this sheet, you will compare the result with, let's say, predefined data. And if anything, if you see that, alright, the existing data and the result that's coming up is not matching or maybe matching, and you have to take action upon a certain, when you get a certain exception or anything, or you have to respond to a particular requirement, you will get to know about all this if you have report generation in place. Reports can provide the detailed execution status with pass, fail, skipped category along with the screenshot. So when you create the reports, you can of course provide the execution status as pass, fail, or you skip the test case, and you can also take the screenshots along with them. Alright? Okay, so that's about the properties of automation framework. Let's start with more from the next recording. See you in the next recording. Bye.